Let's go. All right. So we want to welcome to the show, Justin Haley. Justin, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, no problem. I've been playing hard to get for some time now. I know you guys have been wanting me on, and then we had intentions to do it in Chili Bowl, and then obviously Chili Bowl gets busy. So I texted Ryan last week. I said, hey, let's do it before the season starts up, because if we didn't do it now, I don't think I ever would have.
Yeah, things are going to get a little hectic, and you're right. Chili Bowl was very hectic. Let's talk about the classes you ran, and we can talk a little bit about that driller in just a minute. Yeah,
so I've probably been in the RC industry for 3 years, maybe 4 at max. I feel like growing up, I always wanted to do RC cars, and I just thought it was cool, and then probably 2020, 2021, I really started getting into it and realized there was a loose dirt oval right here, not 10 minutes from my house, which was Race and Race at the time. So I went over there during an open practice night and, thought it was pretty cool. I just had a slash street stock, super street, which is still really what I run. I just love the class. And I've raced there a little bit. I've ran at Bump and Run a few times, which is not too far from the house. And then I've ran at Murph Dog's place, which is a carpet oval indoor. So for me, I don't have a lot of time to race RC cars other than the weekly show at Race and Race. So it always intimidated me to go out there. And that might sound crazy, but it's intimidating. I'm sure you've learned this, that I have to do everything 110%. I can't do anything at less than 100% or even close. So I've been wanting to go to the RC Chili Bowl for so long, and I always talk myself out of it. For some reason. And I talked myself out of it this year. And I had planned to go to the Gateway Dirt Nationals with my Modified. I was super excited about that event. Been trying to, go to that event for a long time. And it got to the week of the race, and I actually haven't really publicly said anything about why we didn't go, but you have to run mufflers because it's an indoor race. So we took the headers off the car to weld mufflers onto the headers, and we found really bad corrosion and the motor. So, I made a call. I was like, hey, we probably shouldn't go. So I didn't race Gateway. I know that this is off topic, but it's so on topic so we didn't go to Gateway, and I was bummed. I'm sitting at home all December. And I'd already entered for the Chili Bowl, but I didn't know if I was going or not. So I was like, you know what? I'll go. I haven't raced anything since Phoenix in the Cup car. I was going to go to Gateway. But we're going to Chili Bowl. So I made this decision December 23rd. And I'd already entered but I talked myself out of it. You enter so early, and then you there's so much time. So I'm like, well, I should probably order cars or something. And I've always been fascinated with the X-ray stuff. And, so I entered into street stock, entered into SCB mod because I've never ran anything other than a slash mud boss, a slash super stock. I ran a late model out at Race, a loose dirt late model, 2 or 3 times. Max Floor built a car, and I just kind of ran it just for fun. But so I was just like, cool, I'll do the beginner classes because I've never really raced anything and in RC, and I really didn't know what to expect. And Murph Dog and Max are right here. I race against them every week, and they just blow my doors off. So I'm like, well, I can't do the class. If everyone's like Max and Murph, then I can't do the classes they run. So I should probably get in a class that probably is more my speed. So back to December 23rd, I ordered X-rays. I ordered the bodies. I was scrambling to try to find a B-mod body. Thankfully, MR Customs had one, and then, got on the Shark RC website, ordered a smoke screen, and then we were off. So I called Murphy up, and I'm like, hey, I need to, I need help. I need to do something because I have no idea. I mean, I've ran some associated B-mod stuff, but again, very fascinated with the X-ray stuff, super adjustable, and it just looked like good quality. So went to Murph Dogs at like, you know how Murphy operates. It's all like midnight oil type situations. So, I mean, I go over there, in the depths of the night with these 2 X-ray boxes and some wrenches, a 2.0 and a 2.5 and a 7.0. And I'm like, hey, let's do this. And he was building his own Chili Bowl cars. So he was just kind of giving me advice. Like, I was just building it by the book. Yeah. And then, like, he would kind of watch out of his corner of my eye me do something wrong and then, like, kind of shake his head and come over. I didn't know, like, the turnbuckle thing where you have to run it. You don't have to, but you kind of run it on the device to pre-thread the turnbuckle. So learn that. So anyway, I loaded all of it up and we went to Chili Bowl. We had a great time. So yeah, like 2 weeks before I decided I was going to go, and that was that.
Let me make sure I understand this. You never drove a buggy street stock. You never drove a buggy based car before, and you drove a little bit of SC mod, but nothing like this before.
Incredible. I probably have 5 B mod starts, probably 25, 30 street stock starts and a slash street stock, some mud boss stuff, and then like I said, probably 2 late model starts, just with what Max had spare left over hanging on his wall. So this was my first time in a buggy street stock, and it's the week is so long. I'm sure you noticed this. I unloaded and my buggy street stock was so bad, and I went out, did 1 run on practice day in my B mod, and I was like, I went straight to the top of the board in B mod. I'm like, dude, this thing's killer. And then it turns out by the end of the week, the B mod couldn't get out of its own way, and my street stock was fast.
Your street stock was just incredible. It was funny. I think you and I ran B mod together in the same heats. And right out of the gate, it's like, oh boy, move over for this cat coming. You know, like he's.
Yeah, I was watching, on live RC, and man, the way you were center off the corner was just a monster down the front and the back stretch. And you would literally look like you would and just let somebody get into the corner, and then boom, you would just set them up and take them.
Yeah, like I said, thankfully I had a good group around me. Obviously, really good friends with Max Floor and Murph Dogs right here in town. So I have great assets, not but 5 miles from my front door. So I think they're probably 2 of the top, whatever in the country. So that was super cool. When I got there, Paul Peterson of Shark introduced me to Will Engel, and he runs Tech Light Chassis, and he does a bunch of X-ray conversion kits and builds X-ray stuff. So he kind of came over and looked at my stuff and told me I was out of my mind with some of my setup stuff, and he helped me with my shocks. My shocks, they had rebound in them, and it was like a rush build. So I was just trying to throw it together to get there, and it was tough competition. Drake was tough. I mean, and the worst part about it is I didn't race Drake till the feature time. Yeah. I mean, with how the format is, I never raced him, and you don't know how he's going to drive you. You don't know how the other competitors are going to drive you. You don't know how they race because you haven't raced with them. So, I mean, it was obviously a pretty successful week. I know, on the drive out there, I took some buddies because we were having fun. I mean, they didn't race. I just kind of was like, hey, let's go out there and drink and have fun. And, my wife had gone to Florida for a little bachelorette trip. So I took the boys out to Oklahoma, and, they were like, well, what would be a good week? And I'm like, well, I think a heat race win would be pretty cool, and low, and then here we are sitting here. So, I don't know if I could do it again, but, kind of circling around, I put so much into this, you kind of saw, you would stop by and check, and I think I get read the wrong way a lot of the times, because I'm super quiet, and my brain is always turning. I mean, you see some of those people that just don't speak a lot, but you can kind of see through their eyes that their wheels are spinning. And that's kind of me to a T. So if you just kind of see me like off and around, I probably don't say much just because I'm in deep thought. And, of course, my wife, Haley, struggles with the same thing with me, or I'll just say something out of the blue and she'd be like, am I supposed to know what you're thinking? Yeah. So a lot of times I get read wrong, and I'm kind of a shy, reserved guy, and especially kind of in my position, you don't really know if someone has a preconceived thought of you or what you're about or your values or anything. But my whole deal is, and especially going to RC Chili Bowl, is I just wanted to bring value to it. I'm obviously not the biggest star in the world, and at the end of the day, there's a point in your professional career where you grow up as a kid racing, and all you do is race, and you love to race, you love the competition. There's a point in all of our careers where it's not so much about that. There's a lot more you have to do. You have to retain sponsors, keep sponsors, and there's professionalism to it. Doesn't mean I'm not having fun, but it's definitely a different level. And what I've found in RC racing, and especially the week of Chili Bowl, for a majority of it, is that I was just a guy that was the same as everyone else, and we were racing. We were on the same level. I loved just competing, and that's probably the most people I've talked to at a racetrack in a decade, just because of the atmosphere of RC racing, and that's what I love, and that's why I've kind of grown fond to it. Yeah, I feel like it does also help me with, some of the big car stuff with hand-eye and just mechanical thinking, but RC racing is so low pressure to me that it has brought the fun back into it, and I really enjoyed, my time and hanging out and talking to people, and that's why I love it so much. That's why I'm starting an RC track. I don't know if you guys know, our local dirt oval closed down, and Ray came to me and was like, "Hey, I don't want to leave everyone else hanging. Will you start a track for me?" And I was like, "Sure thing." So I have Dark Horse Race Club. We're still in the beginning phases of it, but it's going to be a covered, not enclosed, but a covered loose dirt oval. And I just want to bring value to the sport. I probably had 20 or 30 people throughout the whole week come over to me and say, "Hey, like, I had no idea this existed. I was in the big Chili Bowl. I saw your social media, and I thought I'd hop over here." And that's what was cool to me, is I was bringing value. And then also, throughout the week, you don't know this, David, because you weren't there, but by the end of the week, I had almost every kid in that building had a JH hat on. I was branding every single kid in there. And
nice.
It kind of started with one, and it was two, because I use my merchandise trailer is what it is. So when I go dirt racing, big car dirt racing, I have merchandise and I sell it. Well, I had only cleared out half the trailer, and all the hats and things were still in the trailer. Yeah. So, a kid came up and was like, wanted a picture. And so I was like, I'll give him a hat. Yeah. And then he started wearing around. And then by the end of the weekend, it had to have been almost every kid had a JH hat on.
Every kid had a JH. He was rocking some kind of gear, whether it be a hat, a shirt. Yeah. It was awesome. In fact, I want to thank you too, Justin. We met some great people there. Hunter Carey and his dad, Jamie.
Awesome.
Yeah,
people.
He was dude, that kid, man. The world needs more of him.
The first time I saw him celebrate on the driver's it just like takes you back, and you're like, this is just unbelievable. It's really what it's about. There's so much intensity in that building, and so many egos, and people wanting to do good, and then there's Hunter, right, just having the time of his life, and it recenters you for sure. Awesome to see him and his dad there all weekend. It might have been one of the highlights of my week, really, truly. And he could wheel too. He was.
What Walecki said to me? You know what, Lecky? I'm dead serious. Walecki and I are standing and pitting for Tony, and he goes, "Dude, that Hunter kid's gonna smoke you in B-Mod." I was like, "Come on." Man. He goes, "No, he's gonna," and he did.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not for lack of effort, but yeah, the kid just housed me. I mean, he was just a good, smooth driver, and he really listened well. And it's funny, you ask Jamie, hey, Jamie, he's up there hooting and hollering, and he goes, Ryan, every time I told him he did a good job, that's when he really started, woo, and you know how he'd get on the driver's stand.
Yeah.
That was really for me too. Really, the highlight of Chili Bowl was meeting him and his father, and that bond that those two had, and that smile on his face. But again, thank you for donating some gear.
It wasn't about that. I was like, man, I just got so many boxes of hats in here. Like,
Sure.
I just handed them out like candy. Yeah. So
that was very cool. Folks, are you looking to gain a 10th on the racetrack or maybe get a few ladies like Taylor Swift in your pit stall? Well, I'm sorry to say that Carpies can't work miracles in those departments. But here's the good news. The folks at Carpies can definitely help you become the ultimate toy car nerd just like me. How, you ask? Well, with their custom wraps and killer collection of official RC branded merch. So while they can't promise to shave a 10th off your lap time, they can save you 10% on your next order with promo code RCU10 upon checkout at carpies.com, CARPYS.com. Wrapping winners since 2013.
A fun ride.
Yeah, what a week. What a week it was.
Justin was sharing some speed secrets on slashes. I will take them to the grave, both Jason and I, but he's talking about setups and doing some trick stuff with bodies and all of that. I'm like, man, this dude is legit. Like, how can you not appreciate the effort that you put into it? I mean, some of the stuff you got going on, dude, and your race program with RC cars is pretty intense. I mean, as far as rebuilding diffs after, runs and a weekend, especially with Slash, I mean, hell, I may go through mine 3 or 4 times in a season. You're doing it after every race. Like, you don't mess around with this stuff. You take it very seriously.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, that's just where I'm at. I mean, I'm in Mooresville, North Carolina, and I've been in the Cup scene. I've been in NASCAR. And when you're here living in this environment and you go into a Cup shop every day, you just get so particular about everything. It's how I run my dirt car program. Yep. It's how every Cup car that I sit in is perfect. Every bolt is, just perfect on every car. And I've gotten super particular about everything I do. And it's just the environment that we live in. I mean, being here in this garage, I mean, it's unlike anything that you can even explain. So, I mean, I carry that over to my RC car. There wasn't a CV joint, a bearing, a diff I didn't replace after every single run. And, lucky I can do that. And I have the means to do that. I mean, it's RC car parts, but, bearings stack up. But when you're racing somewhere like that, and that's what I told you guys, that I replaced the spur and pinion after every single run.
It's legit.
2-minute, 3-minute run. I mean, obviously not on practice day, but if I was going into a race, the car was completely disassembled, I would go through it, take the motor apart, look at the motor, make sure there was absolutely zero wrong with any part of the car, because the intensity is so high that you only have that 3-minute run or that 34 laps in street stocks. And if you had a small problem, it just dropped you. And that's the environment I live in. When I walk into the Cup garages on Sunday, the intensity is so high. And that's what I feel like I thrive in. So I ran my dirt car program like that. I'm not putting a whole new car underneath it anytime. No. I'm replacing, I'm cleaning the CV joints, making sure, all the bearings are good, replacing the ones that even have the smallest hiccup in them. The only thing I really did was replace the spur and pinion every time, and then just completely go through the car, because we had 15 hours to do it. Yeah. So why would you not?
Right. But that's what's cool. And that's why I'm getting back to, haters are going to hate, but there's no way anybody can hate on you, because you leave nothing to chance.
Luckily I have that knowledge and willpower to do all that. And I learned so much. I mean, I am so much more knowledgeable, as we all are. You go there and you race against those people. What you can bring home is, yeah, I mean, it's just unheard of. I mean, I learned so much about tires and who knows what. Just everything, every piece of the car, I learned something about, and I feel like, you know, what I really thrive in is just exploiting everything I can out of a car. And I talked to you about the slash stuff, right? As Murph Dog says, I don't think you want to race me in a spec class because I probably have more time and thought to put into it than anyone else. So
he was telling us some stuff, and Jason and I, our eyebrows will go, that makes a lot of sense. And damn it, why didn't we think of that?
So what he is of 1RC, I feel like I am of slash street stocks.
I'll give you that, because you honestly, you were no slouch. So I didn't know if you knew this, but there's a website called RC Garage. And every time that we run a track with, you know, my laps and it all goes through Live RC, all those statistics get recorded.
Oh, really? So every race I've ever done is on there.
Every race, with the exception of 2024. Chili Bowl's not in there, which is so goofy.
Yeah. So you have all my stats forever.
So I've got 45 competitions you've been in. You've raced in at least one class, been to 2 racing tracks. So this might be off a little bit.
No, that's bump and run and race. That's all I've done. Because Murph Dogs is just 1RC.
Yeah, but that actually records. That records as well.
Oh, okay.
So it might be off a little bit. Again, this is the internet we're talking about here. 119 other racers you've raced against. You've overtaken 99 of them at least once. You've hit the podium 35 times with 15 wins. So, again, this internet statistic, 45 competitions, hit the podium 35 times with 15 wins. Not too shabby. And that does not include your driller from the Chili Bowl. So
could be better.
Yeah, we got to get that thing to update, but
yeah, I know.
Pretty damn impressive.
I don't want to get too many starts under my belt, though. I don't want to upset too many people, so I gotta keep my below 50. So
we don't want to.
Like I said, I've never really done this. I mean, I don't know. Again, what I pride myself on is the mechanical side of things. I'm fortunately enough that I feel like my hand-eye is okay, and I get by on that. I mean, I would have been more backtracking to what I did in the hauler. I would have been more disappointed in myself having a mechanical failure than I would have spinning out on my own. Yeah. I mean, that's how much I care about it. I mean, what I do on the track is what it is, and I carry that throughout all of it. After the race is over, it is what it is, right? Yeah. But, I mean, the car just has to be perfect. I mean, I don't know if you saw me waxing the car with the spray wax at any point. You spray waxed your body? So I have it's not a secret formula, but it's it's something we use. So in SCB mod and street stock, we always went on a fresh track, right? So you go out there, do your 3 laps, knock as much mud off as possible. Well, we have this formula that we use in the cup cars and speedways. We use it on the dirt car, but basically no mud can stick to it. Make sure you do not get it on your tires. I didn't tell you about that. I didn't tell you everything. I told you about a quarter of my tricks. I'm not looking for all of them because I don't want to screw myself up. But you know what impressed me again about the X-Ray? I mean, I just went online and bought these off. I actually think I bought these off A-Main. But what was in the kit is what raced. There was not a single manufacturer option part put onto any of my cars. They were out of the box, race ready, besides body mounts, obviously. Sure. And that's just mind-boggling because you see the Associated guys have, hundreds of dollars worth of all kinds of crazy stuff on their cars. I mean, there wasn't a single chassis weight. There was no weights at all on any of the car. It was all, I literally took the cars out of the box, put them together with what was in the box, and I raced them. And I was just so impressed with the build quality. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll ever be able to race X-Rays again at the Chili Bowl. So I'm looking for a new manufacturer for the bigger classes, but all right. We'll have to see. But yeah, if you need some help on X-rays for next year, I'll let you know.
Yeah, are those cars for sale?
They're not. So I don't know. The B mod kind of pissed me off at the end. But
Dude, you got screwed. You got screwed.
no,
mod.
no, it was always. I feel like I was a wrecking ball out there. I mean, I feel like I hit everyone, caused all the damage. So it's 4 minutes out of your life.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's a crazy experience. We sat there and put so much time and money and effort into 4 minutes
Yeah.
of our life.
Yeah.
I mean, we drove 30 hours to get there
Yeah.
for a 4-minute race at the end of the 4 minutes decided the whole thing. And that's what's crazy about racing. So no, my car, I actually have it sitting right next to me. It is not for sale. It is raced once, and that is it. So, but I did take it all the way apart, and I have every single measurement known to man off the car.
That's what's up.
And I will be selling the setup at a high price.
Sheets? All right.
Nice.
Well, let me know what that price is. I'll Venmo. I gotta ask you too, because we got our good friend Paul Peterson, and he's a goofball, but we all love him. His
Paul.
heart's in the right place, and he comes out with some awesome stuff. So, tell me about how you got hooked up with Paul.
Yeah, so I think you guys live in Wisconsin, so you kind of know him, but just ordered his bodies. I just ordered his bodies and races, obviously / street stock bodies forever. And I don't remember quite how the conversation started, but we got to texting or whatnot, and we used to race at Road America in Wisconsin and the Xfinity stuff. So flew up to Road America. It would have been oh man, I sound old. Probably it was my last year in Xfinity, so 2021.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Okay.
And go up there, and I had dinner with him. I had a little Mexican place somewhere in Wisconsin, and
did he shut up the entire time, or did he just keep talking?
If you
Did
know
he pick
Paul,
up the check? That's the thing.
Well,
I
Pick
know
up
Paul.
the check.
So if you know Paul, you will know what I'm talking about here. We had lunch and dinner in the same sitting.
Yeah.
And I mean, he told me his life story. I was interested, and I think what he's doing is cool. I mean, it's pretty cool that he puts. I mean, it's his life, right? So, I brought him and his brother out to Road America, got him pit passes, and they had a good time or whatnot. Showed him around the hauler and did the whole deal, and then we kept in contact ever since. And I just ordered bodies from him, and that's what it was. So then he came to do the RC Street Stock Worlds or something. I don't know. Obviously, I've never raced it, but I don't remember where it was. But we were kind of on the way through, so he was like, "Hey, I got this / Street Stock. The Worlds are Friday, Saturday, whatever." And race our loose dirt track raced on Wednesdays, and he's like, can you set the car up and for the track? And I was like, all right. So we stopped at the house, and he got a hotel. I set up his car, and we went and raced. And he always makes fun of himself for his performance that night because he was pitting out of my trailer and whatnot. I had my car, and he saw what my car did. I mean, I probably won, and he's doing donuts in the infield. He never turned his dual rate down, so we got him figured out towards the end of the night. And we just kept in contact ever since. I mean, I've been honest with him about his bodies. Obviously with the industry I'm in, I have a lot of hot takes on Aero and what he should be doing, and I feel like he's been open with me. I've been open with him, and I feel like we've developed a lot of the bodies together based on my feedback. I don't want to take credit for it. He still sits there and does all of it, but I give him a lot of feedback, and I think he relies on me for a lot of it. So, and he's a smart guy too. I mean,
he is.
He's pretty dialed. So,
yeah, no, I that's, you can definitely tell your influence with a lot of his bodies because they've gotten a lot better.
He does about half he can get away with about half of what I tell him to do. If he really did a body like I wanted, there probably wouldn't be many people happy with me, which I don't know if there is anyway.
I'd buy one.
But yeah, so then how we got connected really, and how I was pitted with him for the RC Chili Bowl is when we were talking about it early on, he was like, I'm going down there and I paid for this vendor spot and whatnot, and he was like, what are you doing? Like, are you staying somewhere? Are you staying at a hotel? Like, what's your plan? I'm like, I think I'm gonna make it a boys trip, and I got a big Airbnb, if you want to stay or whatnot. Like, and he's like, oh, like, cool, talk, and then so we started talking about it, and he's like, are you taking your trailer? I'm like, yeah, I'm taking my trailer. Like, I'm not driving 15 hours without a trailer, I can tell you that much.
Right.
And he's like, well, I'll make a deal with you. Run my body first of all, and so I ran his smoke screen, and he's like, I'll let you pit in my spot or whatnot, and as long as I can stay with you, which it happened to be the running joke. So he stayed at my house. I got his, kind of vendor spot or whatnot. He still took the front half of it. And that's how I was pitted with Paul. And then, actually pretty funnily, I didn't want to buy the smoke screen when he originally told me about it. I was like, man, I don't know. Like the roof on that thing is, it's got no downforce, and it's it's too curved. And he's like, nah, it's putting all of it on the deck lid. It's going to be more. And I've only ran decked bodies.
Right.
So I had actually ordered, a buggy. I don't know the names of them, but I ordered a different buggy street stock body from him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, what are you doing with that? I'm like, oh, I'm racing a chili bowl. And
did he go, no.
Yeah, this is, December 23rd. Well, I never called Paul and told him I wasn't going.
Good. That's perfect.
So Paul doesn't know that he almost didn't have a house.
Oh, he would have been staying with us then. Thank you so much.
Probably would have been better. And so yeah, then he called me up. What was it, like December? Yeah, right after Christmas or something. And he's like, hey, like, are you still planning on going? I haven't heard from you in a few months. And I'm like, well, Paul, I am. And he's like, okay, cool, like, whatever. So that's when I ordered the body, and he called me back. And he's like, why'd you order a body? Like, why'd you order that body? And I'm like, because we just had a call, like, I'm going. And so he's like, no, like, the smoke screen is the way to go. He's like, Drake has won on this body, and Drake has done this, and these guys are running good with this body. And he's like, I'm telling you, the smoke screen is what you need to order. Yeah. I got back on my phone and ordered the smoke screen and got it from him, and was impressed. I mean, it was amazing. So that's how I got hooked up with Paul. I don't know if he had fun housing with us.
He did. He told some stories. You guys.
Well, we went in. It was an older house. It was, and the funniest story was he didn't know I was in the bathroom. So I'm sitting in the bathroom, doing bathroom things, and the door handle for the bathroom was like falling off anyway. It was an older house. So he grabs the door handle. Well, it was locked on the other side, and the whole thing just comes apart. So my side of the door handle just falls onto the floor, and he's got the other door handle in his hand. And I'm like, hey, I'm in here. And he just like laughed the whole time. So then I was stuck in the bathroom. He wouldn't let me out. So yeah, it was a fun time. I love running Paul's bodies. I actually, I just ordered some more bodies from him, some more smoke screens. I wanted to do replica bodies for some of the people that really helped me out in a large way. Cool. And so I got on because I run a modified smoke screen body. So when I ordered them, I had to text him to tell him that I needed different headlights for my modified smoke screen stuff. So he thought that was funny, and he got them to me. So I've been doing some replica bodies for, just the guys that kind of help me. I took some of my buddies out there, so I got them some, and my motorhome driver drove me out there, so I wanted to do something for him and things
cool.
like that. So obviously I'm loyal to Paul just because of I think he does have the best stuff, and in the areas that it might lack compared to competitors, I feel like I can exploit to be better than the competitors with his body. So, but everything else, I mean, I'm just kind of like a freelancer, right? Like if I want something, I just get it, and I don't care. I mean, I want the best no matter what I'm in, and that's for everything.
RC is actually pretty affordable. I mean, when you get down to it, once you've got the chassis purchased, then you're buying the goodies. I mean,
really the most expensive part of it is the electronics.
Yeah.
And you don't have to replace those every run. So I'm putting a $5 spur gear on and a, $6 pinion. And that's why I like it. I mean, the big car stuff, like I said, I own dirt modifieds and I have a dirt modified team. And, obviously there's financial decisions you have to make. And, one of those financial decisions was, not going to Gateway. Like I mentioned, I mean, I could have ruined that motor. I mean, it was running fine, but, financially you just don't know. So,
right. Yeah. You've got a, $40,000 motor. The last thing you want to do is grenade it.
Make a $5,000 repair, a $40,000 repair. So, I mean, and in that sense, it's, I'm very fortunate and very blessed and lucky to be able to, spend my money on RC parts and help the RC industry and promote the RC industry and make the RC industry better. And that's all I want to do. So again, that's looping, a lot of the big car guys. I was doing media day and, my fellow Cup guys were interested about it because they follow me. So, Alex Bowman was right across the street, and I went over, and I'm good buddies with him, and him and Chase Briscoe and I sat at media day, and we talked about RC cars and about it, and they're like, man, that looks fun, like how do I get into it and whatnot, or William Byron, he won 4, 5, 6 races last year. He races RC cars. He used to really do it. Max used to take care of his stuff, and he's interested in it, and a lot of them guys congratulated me. And so, I feel like I want to do something to, get those guys and their social media teams into it just to help boost it. Just by a little bit, just because I can. I don't know if that's having a NASCAR night at my racetrack where, we do a nonprofit charity race, where, you put Kyle Busch and the other 10 Cup drivers out there and, do a race for $5,000 or $10,000 to their charity. I don't know what I want it to be. I don't know if, I take 10 RC car, one RC cars or something and put it in the motorhome lot. We have races or something. So, I want to try to use my platform to promote the industry and make it better. And I just hope, people see that I'm not really in it to do anything other than to help everyone. So,
RC is kind of that outlet. It just allows you to just have fun, hang with the boys, even some of the girls, and just have a good old time, but yet still be competitive, and it's a lot of fun. And I just wish people would understand the hobby a little bit more, because there's so many people that enjoy racing, or heck, it could even be drag racing. I mean, we had who was the guy from Street Outlaws? I don't watch any of that stuff, but I have no idea. I can't remember his name, but there was a guy that came over. He was at the big show. He came over from Street Outlaws. But anyway, there's so many people. It's just like, all you got to do is squeeze this trigger and turn left.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more to it.
Oh yeah, there is. But no,
it's
cool
at the end of the day, I do feel like it's a hobby, right? We're just out there. It's what we do in our free time, and it's what I do in my free time. And people always ask me, well, what do you do when you're not, there Saturday or Sunday? I'm like, well, I'm a racer. I race, and they're like, well, what do you race? I'm like, I race RC cars. And they're like, an RC car? I'm like, I'm telling you, I got shocks and springs and gears and diffs and tires and tire
That's
prep.
That's a lot of work.
But I literally, it's my escape. And I can't sit. I don't know if you figured that out from me, but I just can't sit and hang out and chill. Like I am on the move all the time. and it drives, again, my wife crazy because she just wants to sit and relax, and I'm just like bouncing off the walls. So for me, if I can sit there Monday through Friday and keep my brain active and just be doing something that isn't sitting and staring at a TV screen, like it's my escape. So it was awesome.
You've got a lot of stress with your full-time gig, right? I mean, there's a lot of pressure and so on and so forth that goes there. I've always found that, wrenching on my cars has been like a bit of stress relief for me.
Yeah.
To just kind of, it's like a Zen moment. You know what I mean?
I enjoy wrenching more than I enjoy racing the car, the RC car. I truly enjoy wrenching on the RC car more than I enjoy driving. I mean, obviously driving laps is like, that's cool. Like you can change setups and do stuff like that. But I mean, like if I'm sitting there practicing, wrenching on the car would be making a setup change. And did it apply? Did that setup change apply? I'm already, it's the racer in me is thinking like, oh, my street stock wasn't perfect.
I don't know.
It wasn't, good. How much more, if I would have had that track for 8 hours by myself, think about how much better all of our cars would have been. Yeah. It's just like you're rushed in your time. And imagine if I would have raced a buggy street stock before that weekend, and that's what Drake came over and he's like, you really never raced a buggy street stock? I'm like, well, look at RC Garage now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Look at RC. No, I've never raced.
Ran this. Yeah.
They're not big around here. I mean, it's slash stuff around here. I feel like a lot of those classes are kind of Western classes that you're like wingless and stuff like that. I mean, all we kind of have is mod sprint, late model, and slash stuff. So even like SC mod it's unfortunately on the downhill. I hope the midget stuff comes through, and that's actually kind of been my biggest struggle with starting an RC racetrack is what classes do you run? Yeah. Because you're gonna make someone mad no matter what. And that's part of having an RC track. So I've scheduled with Max to kind of sit down with him, and I want to sit down with Murph Dog, obviously the two big guys around here, and just kind of go through classes. Obviously, you want a quick show being on a weeknight, but you want classes that'll be competitive. So I haven't released all that quite yet.
That's okay. You got to do your homework in it because you got to make it right so that you have people wanting to return back to that track. I feel like sometimes there's tracks that just weigh so heavily on a lot of the, I'll call them purpose-built cars, right?
Yeah.
And that gets super pricey, ultra competitive, and for a guy that's getting into it, running a slash or whatever, they want to.
Yeah, you definitely want something tiered to the beginners, and you also want something tiered to them, and then also you kind of want to combine or align your rules with the traveling series around here. So around here, it's grassroots racing series that they kind of go around. It's more high bike clay stuff, but you still want to align your majority of your cars and stuff like that, and have a common tire so people aren't spinning and want to come and can hop over on a Tuesday or Wednesday and come race at your track. So unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not sure, owning a racetrack means you're not racing. So I might go into RC Chili Bowl next year with only 45 starts still.
Yeah, right. There's no way. You will definitely be after it. And
someone's got, I truly think, I think I'm going to do it all. I think I'm going to announce the races, and I'm not, it's an RC track. You're not going to hire help. You give the tech guy, free entries and let him tech some classes. And then my wife runs the hobby shop, which will just be out of my merchandise trailer. And I scream at people and things like that on the intercom like Scotty does. And we're on our way. So
you got to do a live feed on that, though. I think a lot of people, although, it's going to be, I don't want to call them exclusive, but, it'd be cool. I think a lot of people would watch that, seeing you guys.
I'm excited about it. I feel like a lot of people are excited about it. I just want to everything where we circle back to me doing everything 110%. It's going to be pretty cool. So I haven't told a lot of people much about it, or I've kind of kept it really secret because I don't want to post pictures of it. I just want people to show up with no expectations and be blown out of the water.
Yeah.
Again, it's an RC track, but I have some tricks under my sleeve to really make it pop. And it's all about the Facebook, right? Like, you really want people to look at your Facebook page and be like, wow, like, that's a cool track. And I'm not talking about the actual track. Everything else that goes around,
Everything else,
the podium
the facility.
pictures,
Yep.
the things you really strive for is what is going to draw people to your track. So I have some fun stuff that no one's doing that I can really think of that I think I'm going to apply and kind of make it, make it my own. So,
and until you have an alien show up, we just had alien invasion. Till you have an actual alien in Victory Lane, I'm telling you. No, I got to jump in here. I'm having such a great time just listening to you guys go. But I got to jump in really quick because being a promoter, what you're doing for the hobby is amazing. Like, I think you're inspiring people, right? Sure, you're going to get people that are going to say, oh, he does all this stuff. He changes the car. Oh, we can't do that. This is just a hobby. Forget those people, right? It's the ones you're inspiring to say, you know what? I need to step up my game. What Ryan and Jason have said on the show, let alone what they've said on their own, just talking about it, they're like, Haley made us better. There's no doubt about it. He made us better. He made us think. He showed us a few things, but more importantly, he challenged us that we have to get better if we want to do that. We have to take care of our cars better. And now I hear what you're talking about with the racetrack. And again, being a promoter who has a little track in my basement of my house, I think you're going to inspire a lot of track owners once they see, including myself, see what you're going to start to do at your track. That on that side too, you're just going to elevate the sport, and the exposure you're putting on the hobby is it's just awesome. And I just appreciate that you're doing all that.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, and there is some, sponsors, like Horizon Hobby sponsors Michael McDowell in the Cup Series. They won Indy last year. So, it's not like crazy to see the alliance or anything like that. But, I do appreciate that. I mean, it started off with me buying a car with the hobby shop uptown and, I think I bought 4 Traxxas Slashes, and we took them out to my farm and me and all my buddies were drinking some beers, running into each other. And then, how it progresses, like, how it always progresses is you put some tires out there, race around the tires. And then, you take the bodies off and you're like, well, what can we do? And then it turns into, well, we're going to build a track. So, I mean, I actually do have a track that I run races at, or I did race in my backyard, and just did some stuff with like my buddies with like little 1/16 Slashes, and so I would buy I like 20 1/16 Slashes, and I had 20 of my good friends or guys that worked on my car or something like that, and they always stayed at my house. I would order a bunch of McAllister bodies, and I'd wrap them all. I'd have Gary at Go Fast. He would wrap every single car with that driver's name and number. And I was doing all of this like myself. Like, these guys just showed up. I put transponders, did the transponder system, did the full deal at my house. And, the guys had a blast. And those are just guys that, I'm friends with. And I just wanted something that, I could do on my off time. So, that wasn't as competitive as what we do with the real RC stuff. So, those small Slashes stayed in my shed, and the guys would show up on Monday. They'd help set the track up, and we'd race, do a little program, and have some beers, and we'd have fun. So, I mean, I've done a lot of it already. I go into the Cup shop this week, and the guys are talking about it, and the guy has a 1RC modified, the big tire modified, sitting on his desk, and I'm like, you race that at Murphy's? He's like, no, I haven't gotten it. This is a brand new team I'm racing for, so I don't really know these people yet. And he's like, no, like I really haven't, like, it's almost kind of nervous, right? Like, you buy the car and you're getting in the door to a new RC track. I've struggled with so much, especially with how shy and nervous I am, because it's a whole new like group of people. that you don't know, and they all know each other. And I can't imagine what it would be like walking into some guy's basement that's trying to promote a race.
It's creepy.
I mean, that's
It's
even
creepy,
worse.
man.
So,
There was a funny story. We had two guys that came, Aaron and Dale, and they pulled in the driveway, and Aaron said to Dale, "You're going down the stairs first, because if something happens to you, I'm running. I'm just running."
Yeah. Yeah.
so the guy, he's my engineer, actually, turns out. I pick up his car off his desk. I'm looking at it, right? And I'm like, man, we got to like change this, change that, drill the shock caps out and do this. And he's like, looking at me like I got three eyes. And so then, I'll just buy 10 or 20 1RC cars, and we'll just race them around the shop floor at lunch.
Heck yeah.
So
Heck yeah.
I'm going to text Murphy, and we're going to order some 1RC cars, and we're going to, I think it'd be pretty cool to race 1RC cars around the little track in the shop with the cup car sitting in the background. So just introducing people to the sport. I mean, that's it's so fun and so challenging. And that's what I've done, buying all those slashes, inviting all my buddies over, and that's what I want to do in general. So more people you can bring into it is better.
Well, and especially with your new gig too, talk about an ultimate team building thing, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
You all can get competitive together, and you're all kind of racing on the same playing field. Now I know you'll.
They already told me I wasn't allowed to race.
That's
ridiculous. Bought the cars yet?
I'll tell you what. You buy the cars, and then you pull them off to the side one by one, and say, "Hey, you want me to shave like 4/10 off your lap time? Like, come on." Like,
we've already ruled that you can't. I mean, they got to be box stock, and that's kind of like
that's fair.
Spec racing's fun as long as all the cars get put in cages during the week.
Yeah, right.
Spec racing is not fun at a competitive level.
Folks, are you looking to gain a 10th on the racetrack, or maybe get a few ladies like Taylor Swift in your pit stall? Well, I'm sorry to say that Carpies can't work miracles in those departments. But here's the good news. The folks at Carpies can definitely help you become the ultimate toy car nerd, just like me. How, you ask? Well, with their custom wraps and killer collection of official RC branded merch. So while they can't promise to shave a 10th off your lap time, they can save you 10% on your next order with promo code RCU10 upon checkout at carpies.com, CARPYS.com. Wrapping winners since 2013.
Hey, Ryan, we got big news. Papa Willie's has asked if they could be a part of the RC Underground Radio.
It's good stuff. Like the smell.
Do you use it as a cologne? That's a question.
I don't wear it, but it gets on me.
I've looked at some of their social media. They really like to have fun.
It's good to promote his kindness as well. He likes to have a lot of fun. You see it in all of his promotions, and we're certainly going to jump on that train. But, when you're buying his product, know you're buying from a good guy who really supports this hobby and, supports our mission, and that's to grow it and support racers and racetracks throughout the country.
For sure. So stay tuned, everybody. It's going to be a fun ride.
Jason did text me, and he said, ask Justin why he locked Paul Peterson in the bathroom at their Airbnb.
It was the other way.
It was the other way.
Paul locked me.
Yeah. What'd you think? All right, so I got to get back on Paul. So what did you think about Paul Peterson's tight jeans that one day?
Did he?
Did you not see those tight jeans he had?
I did not.
Those
were they skinny jeans?
Tight. They were skinny jeans. They were tight. He had the
really?
best.
What day was this?
I can't remember. Maybe it was like Tuesday or something.
They all run together.
Yeah, they do. But he had the best looking ass in Chili Bowl. I let him know about it too.
Well, he's all about aerodynamics. So
yeah, he was going for aero.
He was wearing them tight, and yeah.
I mean, I don't think that I wasn't focused on anything, especially anything other than what I was doing, especially regarding Mr. Shark's.
Mr. Shark's junk and his tight jeans.
He had his shark skins on.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
The people who just walked around all day having fun like you are the people that notice that.
Yeah, well, I sucked all week, so it was like not a big deal. Actually, my BMOD got moving, but just lack of talent. I mean, I got that car tightened up, working. I had tons of speed. I just,
what's crazy is I had a 5.0 in my car.
Same here.
Murphy 5.0, and I was getting pulled down the straightaways all week. I mean, so slow. And I kept gearing up and gearing up. I think I went up 6 or 7 teeth, and
Really?
I was still cold. And I was like, whoa. I wanted to ask, because it was a Murph Dog motor. He built it for me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what to run. And I wanted to ask him, what to do, because I don't know anything about the ESCs. I mean, I know a little bit, but I know enough to get myself in trouble. I was going to ask him, and actually, I think Tyler Hook, he won Mod Sprint or whatever they call it. He actually came over and kind of walked me through it and put some boost or timing, he said I had it all messed up. So, like I said, I know just enough to get myself in trouble.
Well, but see, that's interesting that you say that, though, because you were getting pulled a little bit on the straightaway, but I mean, throughout the week, guys caught up in the B mod, but you're still right there, Yeah,
I think that's the interesting part about Chili Bowl is you think that you're good, and then they all catch up. Like, so you seed, and wherever you're seeded, you're like, oh man, I'm fine. It's not even close. Then they all catch up by the end of the week. You're like, so you can't let your guard down. It's really, really tough.
Yeah, it's every run that you've got to try and advance and gain those points. Because that was true, I mean, when you made it in to your mains, you were racing against guys that you'd never raced before. So now you're dealing with all those different talent levels and whatnot. I mean, the street stock, watching that race, man, Jason and I were standing next to each other. And I was like, dude, look at how smooth he is. So it was interesting. Now you were focused on your car. I'm sure you're looking ahead, whatever. But Drake was putting that car in there sideways.
Yeah.
Just plowing through the corners.
It's impressive. You know what's impressive about Drake? I mean, the guy's so fast. Okay, so I'm going to tell you my week about Drake, right? So I meet Drake the first day. Paul introduces me to him. Everything's good. He's P1 in practice. Got us covered. He seeds first. I seed second. He's got me covered. I mean, like 3/10 or something. It was crazy. He rebuilt his whole car. Like, completely changed everything.
Yep.
Went through the first qualifier, won it. Wasn't good enough. Changed it all a different way, put a different body on it. I might have been a different car. He's like, literally, it's not even the same car. Different body, different everything. Runs the second qualifier. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
So the third round completely changes the whole car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my stuff was so close. I seriously wouldn't even do a turn in the shot collar. I was so scared.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even do a turn, a half a turn. I like literally marked the shot collars to make sure they never got turned.
Never moved.
Because I felt so good about my stuff. And here he is, faster than me, wholesaling his car after every session. So then we get up there for the feature. And his pig guy has a whole tote. And I'm sure you all saw it. He goes around, does like 5 feet. Oh, no, that's it. Pig guy's taking off the right rear. He's adjusting the diff 30 seconds before the green flag.
Yeah.
Puts the right rear back on. Puts the body on. And I'm just like, I'm like a very, like, I have to touch, feel, I have to do it, right? Like, it's all me. Like, his pit guy, not a random guy to him, but a random guy to me, is just cranking a 2mm wrench in his differential 30 seconds. And then he just like pulls out. He's like, oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this guy's insane. I'm not content. You're never content. But he definitely was not even close to content. And he was so fast. All week long. Yeah. And I don't even know how he can get his car like that. Like, I have no idea.
His setups, I was able to get one.
What does that mean? You were able to get one? Or you just got like a super zoom lens on your camera and just taking pictures? I got his setup. I got a Drake setup here.
I did.
No, he was cool.
On my phone.
I will say, Drake, he literally sat his car down without a body on it and said, you can look at it.
Yeah. But it's
which is
way unconventional.
Yeah, he says that because you're like, what is this guy doing? And then it's like,
yeah,
I don't even know if I had a whole day. I don't even know if I could get my car to drive like that.
No, the way he had that thing set up and the way he'd send it into the corner. I mean, I was watching him, and then I was kind of far away, but I was watching him on the driver's stand to see when he was like, if he was using brake, setting it in the corner and stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know how that kid wheels that car. I
mean, it obviously had a big motor in it.
Yeah.
And he used all of it. I will tell you that. And he'll tell you what. I mean, he had like a 7.5 or something. I mean, he was telling everyone what it was, and I mean, I had a 10.5 in mine that was turned down to 90, so I practiced at 90. This is how crazy I am. Practiced at 90 for seating. I was feeling good about things. So I bumped it up to 91. I went back down to 90, and then I raced the feature at 92.
Wow.
Mean, like, does it even make a difference? I don't know, but like that's just like you're always like tinkering. You're always trying to get something. So
I ran a 10.5 and I had to turn my stuff. Jason made me turn my stuff down to like 40% because I couldn't even get the car down the straightaway.
I feel like if I knew more about I didn't run any like drag brake. I don't know how to set any of that. So like you saw my car, like it was just smooth, like it ran like an asphalt car, and I just kind of drove around people. I stalked them long enough to pounce, and he made a mistake, went high. I got underneath him. He had some trouble. I won. SC mod. I'm still dizzy, spinning around in circles from that. That was crazy because I had been on a freshly groomed track all week.
Yeah.
And then you roll out there for the feature, and it's got one groove, tacked up, never seen anything like it. Car wasn't even close, felt like I let myself down, and that's just how crazy it was. And I thought I had an advantage going into B-Mod because, like, I've already won. Like, there's no pressure. Man, we dropped the rag, and it was like, oh boy, hang on to it here.
Well, and the minute you got out of that groove, right? All that
it was
come
so
back
bad.
and it was terrible. You just could not regain control.
Were you guys on the DE was Super Softs?
Yes.
Gotcha. So I couldn't get DE wheels. Like I had ordered them through A-Main. I think they're still on back order. Couldn't get any. And I was sitting there building my car at Murphy's, and he kind of jokingly was like, "Hey, you get any wheels yet? Wheels and tires?" I'm like, "No, I haven't gotten any. Like they're on back order." And he like fumbles around in his closet, and he's like, "Here are some tires." And I'm like, "When did you race these?" And he's like, "Oh, like few years back, they weren't in saran wrap or Ziplocs or anything." Dude, that's the SC mod tires I raced on. 2-year-old DE hards or softs.
Wow. Yeah,
they were
super softs.
They weren't super softs. They were the harder compound, year-old, been sitting in his closet. And I kid you not, that is what I raced on. So all of that, what anyone can say, that is what I did. Now I prepped them and baked some heat into them, but still, like, I'm very particular on having brand new tires that were just made because they still have the oils in them. Oh man, when I got these tires, I mean, they were rocks.
I bet.
And that is seriously what I would have drove on, and they were fine all week until the feature when you needed the grip. And I was skating so bad because I was on year-old tires.
I wish I would have known that. I had so many.
Isn't that crazy? And I mean, DE was like across the street from us, and they had tires. And I don't want to say that I couldn't get tires, but that they were already mounted. And Murph Dog does a good job. And I was just out there having fun at first, and then turns into this whole debacle. And I'm running good and whatnot, but that is the craziest thing you'll probably hear from anyone is that I was on 2-year-old DE tires that were I think it's the softs. I think it's either like super soft or soft. It was the soft compound ones. So
it would have been the D40.
So if you want to feel better about yourself,
No, you just made me feel worse. I got housed by 2-year-old rocks that Justin was running on.
So the whole drive home, I'm like, I should have gotten super soft for my mod for the feature because it was one groove. So enjoy that. You can go to bed tonight knowing that tires don't mean anything, apparently.
Hell no. After Chili Bowl, I was looking for a tall tree and a short rope because I suck so bad in street stock. I mean, and that's what I was like half tempted to just bring my car over to you and say, hey, Justin, just look at this thing and tell me what the hell I'm doing wrong. You probably would have told me it was talent.
Yeah, I mean, I just like Drake, I have different philosophies than a lot of people. I think that's what's interesting is about racing in general is there's 50 different ways to get to the checkered flag, and all 50 of them usually work. My philosophy is a lot different than a lot of people's. And actually, the SC mod was kind of my setup, and the street stock setup was kind of Will's, baseline, whatever. I mean, it's kind of his springs and whatnot. But it was two different, philosophies, and his was, super good. I mean, he kind of told me what to do to it, and I put the springs on. I was like, whatever, just because after practice day I was like so bad that I didn't even know what to do. So what I thought was interesting was that everyone ran a lot of droop in their shocks, or at least the guys that were me and Drake and all the good guys, and the super street stuff, I'm slammed, like the chassis is as low as it can go. You're limiting body roll. You're mounting the body a certain way. So definitely different, like with how little the cars are and the ways to get speed out of it. So it was a learning experience. I had fun. You
gonna do it again?
It's the age-old question, isn't it? I feel like everyone goes out there and they're like, "Oh, are you gonna do it again?" So I got
You got one driller. I mean, you got to defend that title. Drake can't. I think he's got two. He's got two in street stock. He's got two drillers.
No, there's no street stocks in my future. I think the wingless class looks fun. Like I said, they don't run around here, but I think it looks fun. I mean, late model, obviously. I mean, they all look fun. Just I think like right, there's street stock and B mod. That's like your beginner, like I have no idea what I'm doing classes, right? Then once you like get that out of the way, I think wingless and A mod are kind of like the next stepping stones. I mean, there's some good wingless guys, but that kind of seems to be like, that there's people running B mod and street stocks, and then there's people running A mods and wingless, and then there's people running, late models and sprints and Midwest. So I think the next step would be A mod and wingless. I mean, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, the thing is, when you move up to that A mod, now you're building a purpose-built chassis. Yeah. And for guys like you and me who love adjustments, that's where we get it from. Yeah. We can really start to play with that rear toe and, adjustable arms and all that fun stuff.
Well, I had plenty of adjustment on rear toe with my X-ray. So
I know, and I'm so jealous of that. Jason and I were like, "Would you look at this?"
Yeah, everyone that looked at my car was like, "No, like, what'd you do?"
And those are pieces you grab right out of the box.
Yeah, the only difference is we all know when you build an Associated, you have the pills that you put in the rear arm, right? There's the pills. That's how you get your toe and Associated stuff. It's the pills in the rear end. Well, an X-ray has pills in the hub carriers. Yeah. So if you can get 3 degrees of toe on the inside of your arm, where the transmission is, well, I can get another 3 on the outside. So it's actually 6. Yeah. And that's pretty much the only reason I bought the car, is because it had adjustable hub carriers that were just pills that came with it. And I could get way more rear toe than anyone else out there, except anyone else that had an X-ray, which I know Scott Earhart, he was good. He made both features just like me. He had the same X-ray cars. Actually, I copied his street stock that he finished 3rd there with last year, and that's the car that won. So that's the benefit of running X-rays, adjustability. I mean, they have like 5 different hardness levels of every part like I was talking to you guys, like the A-arms and shock towers, and there's different like plastic hardnesses, and I don't, that's way too much for me. I mean, that's
way technical.
That's spinning a lot of gears, but I know more rear toe on the left rear is going to get you into the corner. And so that's really, and then, you buy the car and the quality is just unbelievable. I mean, every screw that you turn in, it doesn't just keep screwing, like it tightens, and I think when you put like a slash together and associated, you can, sit there and you're just cranking forever and you're like, is it tight yet? Well, it's just stripped out and it is what it is. And you go racing, every single nut and bolt, like just unbelievable quality. So much so I wish they would sponsor me. Like I don't know who even owns X-Ray, but like, I mean, I don't need sponsored, but and I'll probably never run the classes again, so it doesn't even matter to me now. But just awesome cars. I mean, I know they're pricey, and I think where you get into it is like, so for me, a lot of the parts, like replacement parts, are very expensive. And, my biggest struggle taking these X-rays to Chili Bowl was that no one else was going to have the parts for them. So I was really worried that, everyone's associated. I mean, I would say 95% of everyone is an associated. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I'm taking these foreign cars, literally foreign. I mean, they're European cars out there that no one really has parts for. And I didn't want to put myself in that position. So I just ordered 2 car kits. Mm-hmm. I ordered 2 street stock kits, and I ordered, because it was actually cheaper than buying, half of the parts for the car. So I actually went out there with 4 car kits, 2 assembled, 2 unassembled, and I actually never broke anything. The only thing I would really need would be like a shim that I dropped, or, an O-ring that I, dropped during my, severe mechanical servicing process, my very strict regimen, clean the CV joints, I need the differential perfect. And, so I went out there with 4 kits, and that sounds crazy, but it was actually cheaper, and I was looking ahead. And I mean, someone like me, I'd probably need a toe link here and there. I mean, you'd probably benefit because you need the whole chassis when you bend one. So, I'm just joking.
Wow, he knows you
it's
very,
true.
very
I
well.
bounced my car.
You want to know something crazy is that, the B mods are super torquey, like a lot of motor. You had metal diff, metal gears in your diff, everything.
Yeah.
Plastic stock ones.
See, that's such baloney.
I had plastic.
This frustrates
every
me.
gear in the transmission was the plastic one it came with. I mean, they're plastic internal diff gears, literally everything. Even so much, my street stock, it just had I don't know how much the ceramic ball diffs, but you always see like ceramic ball diff balls. Like, it was just the ones that came in the kit. I mean, I didn't have any like titanium on anything. It was literally just the kit. The only thing I did was put Proline springs on it because I know the spring rates, and it's what I run on the Super Street stuff. Yep. And that was it. So, everyone over here is like, grinding metal and their associated stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't know.
I went through my diff like 4 times.
That's
on each
crazy.
Car throughout
I never.
Well, you have to.
Saturday morning, I opened it up for the first time. Because there was nothing wrong with it. And I'm like, well, it spins free. So, can you believe that? So I had 2-year-old D tires, plastic gear diff, and
homie just built a car out of a kit and said, "Yep, I'm gonna go get me a driller."
Whole lot of hope, and I got there. The only thing that kind of steers me off, and I'm sure you noticed this as well, is that the size difference from the street stock to the SC mod. It's crazy, and that's kind of what steers me away from SC mod, is because everything else is buggy based and it's kind of the same. Yeah. And when you would roll out there an SC mod. Yeah. It was just like, wow, this thing is huge, and it's lazy and takes up the track and spongy, and it takes just up so much that like I kind of struggled going back and forth.
I loved my SC mod. That, I mean, not only because it would actually turn, but
just smoother. Like, because it's bigger, it's smoother, and
and those things would snort too. I mean, I ran a 5.0 motive in my car, and I had plenty of smoke all week long. I mean, I had it turned down quite a bit just because lack of talent.
Really?
But yeah, and
so I had on my SC mod, I had everything at 100, dual rate 100.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I was just like, I was maxing everything out, and then on my street stock, I'm down to like 40 on the dual rate, and like 91 through 93 on the on everything else. So,
but the SCB mod, we were blessed because we were coming out off a track rebuild, and there wasn't a groove yet, so we were helping develop that, and you could almost put the car wherever you wanted at that point, and get it around the track. But yeah, it's interesting you say that about, so my buggy, my street stock, I ran an SR10. So I bought an SR10. We had at our local track.
At Chili Bowl?
Yeah.
The SR10's like the pre-built one, or what is that?
Yeah, it's the ready to run. We did an enduro. It was like 200 lap enduro, and we had like 200 cars, and it literally just destroyed. In fact,
I don't think I have. You like won? He like destroyed the field, or like destroyed the car?
No, I
destroyed the car.
This is the body.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so just totally destroyed it. And I'm like, screw it. I'm going to send it. I'm going to bring it to Chili Bowl. So that SR10 had all 6.3 arms on it. I completely converted the thing over. New C&D blocks, went through the diff, all metal gears. Really spent a lot of time on this thing. Ran the new Associated 13 millimeter shocks. And what was cool on it, I ran drag mounts, so I didn't need any shock limiters. It brought my ride heights down almost exactly where I wanted them.
So the SR10, it's associated?
Yeah.
And it's
associated.
It's rear motor, obviously, based on what you just said. Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah, so they're going to be, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know much about anything.
I'm just excited about that X-ray. I'm kind of going to go home and tell my wife, hey, this is what's happening. I'm going to order this.
Are you not home right now?
No.
You're at what are you at the recording studio?
Yeah.
I'm in the studio and he's at work.
I'm a bit of a music man too, so I like.
I mean, the X-ray is not going to solve all your problems. I mean, it's still a car that you have to like.
Right. Can you just maybe bottle up some talent and send it my way?
Well, no, I just meant like if you're struggling, like there's so many more avenues to go to than just flailing money at an X-ray, and it is what it is.
Why I scale my cars all the time.
See,
I want to know where my
I didn't. I get scaling, but I never scaled a car all week.
Really? Yeah. Once you got it set, you don't.
Well, yeah. The first time I scaled them was when I was at home. When I was like, well, I got to see what's going on here, and just wrote down every single measurement and did the whole deal. Scales are helpful. I do think that seeing visually what you're doing to the car, and you can just see the percentage drop. It's helpful.
I needed my scales during the week because I got caught with a left brass weight in the left rear. Yeah,
they were taking them off. That if you bought an X-ray, you're gonna have to put any of that stuff on.
I know. See, I should have talked to you.
You actually save money in the long run because you don't have to put option parts on.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm getting at. You know pop-up parts you got on there?
You know what's crazy is Dan Trimber.
Yep.
He was at Murph Dogs when I was putting these X-rays together, and obviously he's a shoe, he can wheel, and his cars are usually pretty good. I mean, he brought out this Associated he had, and just for respect of him, I don't want to say much about his car or whatnot, but I mean, it probably had $1,000 worth of option parts on it, and I was just like, I'm in trouble. I felt like I was like, at that moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just bought a kit and I'm expected to go out there and I don't know what any of these, I mean, one guy's got lights on his car. I mean, it's crazy. And I'm just like, I was like panicking. I'm like, oh my gosh, like he showed me his car and it's got brass and this and that. I'm like, I hear he ran second last year. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm like, and so expectations definitely shifted throughout the week. Yeah. But I didn't even really think about winning till Saturday. Like I
come on, man, you were like
no, you and Jason came over like Wednesday. Yeah, and you're like, here they're engraving your names on the drillers right now. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what I don't. Yeah. I was just like focused on that day that CV joint, like that spur gear,
polishing that.
I'm like so that like I never even think about it. Like I never even I go to Murph Dog's track and it's like you see it sitting there and you're like, wow, you're like the kid that just went into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. You're like, wow, like that's a trailer, and that's what brought me there. And then here I am with one sitting next to me, and it's just I even think about it. I never even thought about the possibility of me winning until Saturday morning. And again, like all the people that helped me, like gave me advice and humbled me throughout the week, and I think that's what's cool about it. But kind of circling back to close the loop on like you taking away so much from the race just by talking to people, like even like I feel like I learned stuff from you guys, and you probably feel like you learned so much more from me, and it was a 3 to 5 minute conversation, and I was just telling you what bearings to run.
Jason and I head over there. We start talking about stuff.
This was at the beginning of the controversy of the Chili Bowl. I mean, they were just going over to poke the bear, and
we were poking, but dude's like, check me out, man. You want to come and you want to do some club racing with me in a slash? You won't beat me. I'm like, come on, man.
And the crazy part about it is none of what I said is like I don't like none of it's cheating. Like I don't do anything illegal on any of my cars. I'm not smart enough to do whatever they do with motors. It's all like that word exploiting. Like I just exploit and find the best.
But a lot of what we discussed was a lot of stuff that, you really took away from what you do in your professional life.
No, that's what it all circles to.
Simple concepts, right? We talked about, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. And then, Justin pulls open a drawer and says, here, you want to do this with this and look at this and check this thing out, like spin this one, spin that one, and tell me what you think. So it was, you put in the work, dude. And that's what obviously you deserve a lot of respect, not only because you got that driller, your first time ever there, but to understand how you got to that point. And I just want to stress that I really can't stress it enough because, we unfortunately encountered, some trash talk or whatever. And I want to get that off, the people are out of people's minds in the sense that, you put in the work and you've done not only the research, you've worked hard at it, right? You apply, in your words, 110% effort, and you really leave nothing to chance. I mean, the fact that you're cracking open, changing a pinion in a spur gear after every run, you're making sure that mechanical component will not fail and hurt you. I went out and saw so many times mechanical failures, like Jason brought it up last week in the show. He says, guy would go out and his wheel would fall off. Like, how does that happen? You're not nut and bolting your car.
You have 15 hours to sit there.
Right. Like,
and even so much to the details, I would cut out vinyl strips. I'd put the special wax on my body, and then I would take rubbing alcohol right where the body post hole is, and I'd rub around that body post hole and clean it off. And I had these vinyl strips. I'd put the body clip on, and I would tape down both sides of the body clip, and then take a heat gun and really heat up the vinyl so it really attached and surrounded itself around the body clip. And so many people would look at my car up there in staging. They're like, wow, that's so smart. And it's such a simple thing. And that's really what racing is all about. You're never going to find that one big trick thing, maybe once in a blue moon. But if there's 10 to 20 things, small things I can do, it adds up to a big gain. And that's what we fight on the cup side, right? Like we all have the same car at this point, but we're all racers, and you all try to do something that, you're maybe not supposed to do, and try to exploit areas. Well, it's not going to be big. It's all little stuff, and that's what I do with the slash stuff, and that's why owning a track, I've gotten to write the rule book for my track, and I think when the rule book is published, a lot of people are going to be like, what does that mean? And I'm going to be like, well, I know what it means.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to give people ideas based off of it. I don't even remember what I told you.
We won't repeat it. It's in here.
Yeah, you're welcome. And nothing I do is crazy. It's just finding the best products and putting them in, and then doing little things here and there to help it out. So I guarantee you, I love RC racing, love the hobby. I put more work, more effort, more time in than anyone else out there. I mean, I feel like I really did my homework. And again, I was blessed to have a lot of really close friends that, are in my contacts and that, I live 5 miles from. I mean, when you're asking Max and Murph Dog questions, you're probably got pretty good advice. So, I do feel like I put a lot into it. I feel like it's almost draining how much you can put into it to compete at that level at an RC street stock race.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's my hobby. Like,
right.
I mean, some people don't understand it. I don't really think my wife does. She calls them baby cars. She's like, oh, you're going to go race your baby cars. Like, whatever. And, what's funny is, she was at that bachelorette party I was telling you about, and, there's, 15, 20 girls in their mid-20s in Palm Beach with the RC Chili Bowl on their TV watching the features. Watching the baby cars race. Just from that, like, one of the girls there was like, oh, like, my husband, races dirt cars, and then it all, it starts, it's a small world, and we all know that. So, I hopefully I can come race in y'all's basement sometime. I'm not quite a 1RC shoe. I really, every track owner that has a clean slate, I feel like you just want every groove to be exactly the same speed, which is impossible. Right. But, I have this deal in my mind that, I'm going to work hard on really making it not just follow the whiskers on the bottom. I want something that is just like, wow, like, it's pretty racy. So I've always ran really flat. Like, Chili Bowl was as banking I've ever seen. So, I mean, obviously I've run big car stuff at all kinds of crazy places like Bristol and whatever. But I think, having a multi-groove track that like really lines up, and, maybe the top's a little slower, but after 5 laps you can get momentum built up. Like, I think that'd be fun. So, I don't know if it's a dream or not, but I have a clean slate. I have a few acres of property, and I can do whatever I want. And I have some of the best people in dirt oval racing around me, supporting me. So I definitely want to make it right and make it fun. And hopefully I can like put on a big race and do something cool.
Yeah. And I think you're hitting it too with the charity side of things. We always want to give back to the community, charities of our choice. And, if you've got that mindset, right, of not only giving to charity, but also, you're just looking at supporting the hobby. I think that's really big, because there's so many people that do I don't want to say this hobby particularly, but, there's not enough philanthropy going on. And so if you can get some of that celebrity power and give back to a charity, that's super awesome.
It's cool what you said about charities, just like Ryan said. And so that's cool that you're looking that direction, because I think that's where the hobby can really thrive, right? I mean, money races, okay. RC Chili Bowl shows you don't have to have a money race for the hobby to really have a big event, a star-studded event. So obviously thanking Justin Haley for joining us tonight.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you guys having me on and kind of sharing my story. I know a lot of people, especially in the RC industry, don't quite know what I'm about, or, I kind of just showed up to Chili Bowl and knocked the doors down to the whole place and, came in screaming. But, I definitely appreciate you having me on. I think it's awesome what you're doing here. Hopefully we can do something and connect our worlds with my track, and hopefully see you guys next year at the Chili Bowl.
Thank you for listening to the RC Underground Radio Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and tell your fellow racers about the show. Tune in again next week for more RC content.